Good morning and happy Tuesday. Right now it is 5:36 a.m. You are watching the Weather Network and we still have snow falling across the GTA. On average, we picked up about 5 to about 7-8 centimeters across the GTA throughout the overnight. Started perfectly timed for that rush hour commute yesterday. Things were very, very slow yesterday. And even this morning, some icy conditions have been reported on the 401 merging onto the 410. So do watch out for slippery and slick conditions this morning. You can see the snow still flying around the GTA. We are done with the heaviest of it, but of course, while you're driving, snow still accumulating. Things could be a little bit slow today. As we go into the afternoon, -3 feels a little more like -9. Those southwesterly winds are coming in, and we'll tell you what those southwesterly winds are going to do to our temperatures in a second. But first, let's take a look at some of these videos. We thank our viewers so much for overnight tonight. -10 feels like -16, feels like -20 in Newmarket and Barrie. It is going to be a cold one tonight. And then as we look at tomorrow, temperatures are still a little bit below seasonal here, about -4 to -6. But we have a change on the way. A January thaw is coming for us, a more extended January thaw. As we look at that very cold pattern relaxing and see this pink squiggly line, that's the freezing line, and look as it lifts north of Toronto as we go into the weekend. I want to send things over to Tyler Hamilton in our forecast center. He has more on these warmer temperatures for us. Isn't that amazing? Now, some issues, of course, with the January thaw, and we're going to talk about that in trending throughout this morning. Issues in Atlantic Canada, flooding in Vermont as well. And looks like as we go in through the weekend, this system will come in, and that should provide us with some rain Sunday into Monday. The potential as well for some freezing rain late Sunday. So that's something we'll continue to watch in our forecast. I do want to take you out onto our roads this morning. It is 5:46 a.m. and you are watching the Weather Network. We saw our snow last night and into this morning, and it has created some issues out on the roads. We are going to get to traffic, but first, here is what's trending on this Tuesday morning. And it helps the ski resorts by compacting all of that man-made snow, the natural snow, into one solid base. And of course, they hope to keep it right into the spring, that long ski season. That's what they love at places like Blue Mountain. -10 right now feels like -17. It's a cold start to the morning, and the winds today, they're gusting to about 25-30 kilometers an hour. A much windier day in store tomorrow, but a different direction. It's an east wind still this morning, southwesterly winds as we go into tomorrow. It's that east wind here that is still pushing some snow into Toronto, into Oakville and Mississauga, and we are looking at some issues out on the roads this morning. I do want to take a few live shots. The route is a little bit slower this morning. If you see some of those flashing lights, a bit of commotion on the drive, unfortunately, things are just a little slick out there. As we go through the day today, that snow will be moving out. Into this evening, we're -7 in Toronto, -8 in Newmarket, and then tomorrow, we've got a bright day. We've got some bright, nice wintertime sunshine for us, -4 being the daytime high. So that there is a little bit below seasonal, but quite close. -2 is essentially where we should be for those daytime highs. Now, we are going to be getting into a warming trend. It's the southwesterly wind that's really going to pick up, and we're going to see some strong gusts tomorrow. Gusts possibly to about 60 kilometers an hour, especially along the lake shores as we go through Wednesday. That is going to allow the warmer air to really filter in, and a January thaw is upon us. We know the problems that a January thaw can bring along. Of course, all the melting and the flooding. For us, I think that our snowpack was really decreased over the weekend. So with this warm up, flooding in high streams, for example, could be an issue, but I don't think it's going to be a widespread problem across the GTA. 6, 4, those are the temperatures as we go into the weekend. Now, when we come back, we've got this story with Shannon. It's a really great story. Do you consider your dog an elite dog? It's Tuesday, January the 16th, and remember yesterday we were talking about all the tough commutes we were going to be facing. Last night was quite slow. This morning, problematic out on the roads. Unfortunately, many minor collisions, and that's all going to create delays on the morning rush this morning. As we look at our current systems, we still have this snow in our backyard. The most of it, the majority, it has already fallen, but we still have those icy road conditions, snow on some of the roads as well, and a couple flurries still flying. It's an easterly wind, so we still see some of that snow. As we look ahead at tomorrow, this band comes through, stays north of the GTA. So tomorrow we have a nice bright winter day, sunshine on our side. This afternoon feels like -9. Those winds are actually going to be fairly light today. Tomorrow they start to increase again. Along the lake shores tomorrow, we could be seeing gusts up to about 60 kilometers an hour. Wednesday afternoon, -4. We're still cool here. -1 as we go into Thursday, and that's where temperatures, they start to change. Your Long Ranger is coming up in a second, but right now I want to send things over to Shannon Bradbury. She had quite the experience. Do you consider your dog the ultimate dog? Shannon found a group that certainly is. From one awesome story to the next, this is the story of the January thaw. See this pink line? This is a snapshot into Saturday, and you can see that pink line. That's the freezing line. It is north of Toronto. That means we are getting into that mild air, and this is generally the pattern as we end off January. Remember, this is the coldest time of the year, so some of our above seasonal days, we could still be -1, 0, so it can still be cold for sure. It is January, but overall, that extreme cold pattern is relaxing, and we see warmer conditions through the weekend and into next week. Now, when we come back, an eruption in there. That's up in just 3 minutes. Good to see you on this Tuesday morning. The drive may not be as good, though. Snow to impact the morning rush. It's not really the snow that's falling. It's the snow that's already fallen, and those slippery and slick conditions out there. We already have a jackknife tractor trailer on the 401 through Leslie, so that traffic report is coming up. Bright winter sunshine returns. We're going to see that into Wednesday, and then pressing a pause on winter. The January thaw, it's upon us. Kelly, thanks for that. Let's get into our forecast now, where we see a cold start to the morning, so please bundle up. Don't forget the gloves. With the wind chill, it feels like -17 in Toronto. As we look at our radar, we still have the easterly wind, so we see some light flurries within the GTA, but the bulk of the snow, that has already fallen. That is done, but it's what it's left behind, those slippery and slick conditions out on the roads, and I want to take you out onto the 401 right now. This year, let's talk about temperatures now, because the temperature story, well, this is going to be an interesting one. As we look at today, feels like -9. We are still cold today. Feels like -9 in Barrie as well. Easterly wind, not too much of a big impact today in terms of those gusty conditions. Gusts to about 25, maybe 30 kilometers an hour. Easy to deal with. But tomorrow, those winds could be gusting close to 60 kilometers an hour. And it's the direction that's going to make a big difference. It's a southwesterly wind. And that is sort of setting us up for the warmer air moving in. We're still cold on Wednesday, -4, feels like -11. But that cold pattern is going to start to relax as that freezing line, see this sort of jagged pink line here? That's the freezing line. It lifts further to the north. It is now north of Toronto as we go into the weekend. And look at this, 7 degrees in Toronto on Sunday. I don't think I'd call that cold. Now, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the January thaw and the problems it brings. It's Tuesday, January the 16th, and we saw snow come down yesterday, perfectly timed for the rush hour commute. It was slow out there, wasn't it? And guess what? Those slippery, snowy, icy conditions, they've spilled over into this morning as well. We've got multiple issues out there, unfortunately. So keep that in mind before you jump in the car this morning. Drive safe, keep slow, keep a good distance between you and the car in front of you. As we look at our system today, the bulk of that snow is now off to the east of us. Still have a bit of an east wind, so that kicks up a couple flurries off Lake Ontario. But overall, we are not going to be seeing any big snow today. We are just going to be clearing out from this system. When it comes to the temperatures, feels like -9 today in Toronto, in Barrie, feels like -10 in Hamilton. The winds today out of the east, and that's a pretty uncomfortable wind off Lake Ontario. The gust about 25-30 kilometers an hour, so pretty easy to deal with. As we look ahead at tomorrow, winds are out of the southwest, but gusting close to 60, especially along the lakeshore. So we're going to feel the wind a little bit more tomorrow. With the wind chill in Toronto on Wednesday, feels like -11. Now, the good news when it comes to these temperatures, we will be warming up. And for our skin, of course, that is a little bit more comfortable, a little easier to dress the kids in the morning as well. But these January thaws, they can be problematic. For example, look at this. And as we look at our January thaw, thankfully we did see a lot of melting over the weekend, sort of coming in 2 stages. So we're not going to get that big melt all at once, which of course increases our potential for flooding. We are going to see warmer conditions this weekend with rain moving into the picture as well. We'll take a look at some of our trending stories when we return. A very good morning to you, Canada, on this Tuesday. It's January the 16th. Today, Rachel Schoutsen and Kelly Sonnenberg. And Kelly, the snow that moved through Nova Scotia yesterday, I don't think anybody wanted that snow. Now into Newfoundland this morning.
And you know what? Even more of a concern for the Avalon today is ice pellets, freezing rain. And this could be possibly a prolonged event. 6 to 8 hours of freezing rain warnings are in effect for portions of the Avalon. Still dealing with some significant snow across Newfoundland today. Areas like Clarenville up towards the Vana Vista could be seeing 15 to 30 centimeters.
And you can see where temperatures are just perfect for freezing rain. This is not going to be a great day in Newfoundland.
Now, waking up this morning in Halifax, we've seen at least about 17 this morning. He's all bundled up. It's definitely a coolish start to the day. But how are things running this morning? People getting to work, the roads fairly clear?
The drive is almost worse the morning after because that's when the roads can be just so slippery and slick and people underestimate them. It's great to have you along with us this morning on this Tuesday. It is January the 16th. Right now, 6:36 a.m. Bit of an east wind off Lake Ontario, still kicking up a couple flurries, but the bulk of the snow has fallen. It's now on the roads, on your driveway, on your sidewalk, making the commute a little tougher this morning. -3 feels like -9 as we go into the afternoon, and the winds will be a lot stronger as we go into Wednesday. It's the switch in the wind direction, more of a southwesterly flow. We're going to get into that, plus a look at traffic is coming up. But right now, we want to take you outside. Our storm hunter, Mark Robinson, on the scene. Good morning, Mark. How's it looking out there? Oh, yeah, Mark, we are going to be talking about that January thaw today. Thanks so much for joining us on the morning show. As we look overnight tonight, -10 feels like -16. We're still cold today. We're still cold into tomorrow. But when does that pattern start to relax? We're really going to start to see it Friday and in through the weekend. That freezing line lifting north of Toronto. And yes, a January thaw. It's on the way for us. This here is your 7-day forecast. Barrie gets up to 4 and 3 degrees, 4 again into Monday. Same kind of story in Toronto and Hamilton. We really have some more enjoyable conditions. Feels nicer on the skin. I want to show you what Hamilton was looking like yesterday. We've got lots to cover this morning. Mark Robinson is out in the field. We've got 4 problems on the 401 right now. The snow is slowing you down. First, though, here's what's trending on this Tuesday morning. -10 in Toronto right now. Feels more like -16. Bundle up this morning. It is a cold one out there. And snow, we still see it flying around the GTA. The bulk of the snow, though, that fell the heaviest through the overnight. So now we're just looking at these flurries coming through. As we go into the afternoon, we're clearing out. We could still see a couple scattered flurries into this evening. We're -7 in Toronto, -8 in Newmarket. And then tomorrow, we still have the cold air upon us. Warming up, though, in through the weekend. We're going to talk about that, plus a look at traffic just after we check in with our storm hunter, Mark Robinson. Good morning. Well, I'll tell you, the rush hour drive, it has not been a simple one this morning. It's not so much the snow that is falling. We're pretty much done with the falling snow. It's the snow that's already on the ground, creating icy and slippery conditions. Multiple issues on the 401. We are going to get to that live traffic report. We have bright winter sunshine. That returns into Wednesday. Pretty much a gray day today. And then we're pressing pause on winter and welcoming in the January thaw. And I want to show you some of the problems that may come with the January thaw right here in Trending. How does the January thaw help ski resorts? It takes that base layer of snow, the man-made snow, the natural snow, compresses it down, creates a really nice solid base that, of course, they hope lasts right into the spring. Kelly, thanks for that edition of Trending. -10 feels like -16. Cold start to the morning this morning. In terms of the snow falling, we're not seeing too much of it right now. Really starting to relax in terms of a little bit of snow being pushed off of Lake Ontario. We did see lake effect snow with that southerly to more of an easterly wind. As we go into the afternoon, -3 feels like -9 in Toronto. Barrie feels like -9. London feels like -13. We're going to see even windier conditions tomorrow with the southwesterly wind coming into play. Today, the gusts about 25 to 30. Easy to deal with today. Tomorrow, those gusts could be up to about 60 kilometers an hour. And we still are cold tomorrow. We still feel like -11 in Toronto as we go into Wednesday. But that pattern is certainly relaxing. We are pressing pause on winter and watching that freezing line. See that pink squiggly line? We're going to watch that freezing line lift north of Toronto. And we have a January thaw in our hands, an extended period of some more bearable weather, let's call it. Warm? Maybe for some, 5-6 degrees as we go into the weekend. All right, I want to take you out onto our roads this morning. Tuesday morning, and you are watching the Weather Network. Thanks so much for starting off the day with us. Right now it is 7:17, and as we look at our current systems, we do have this over top of southern Ontario. It brought in the heaviest snow overnight last night, and now we're driving in it this morning, and that is creating some issues out on the roads. We are going to get to that traffic report, but I do want to show you this. That low continues to move off further to the east. We are now done with the bulk of that snow. It's just slippery and it's pretty slick out there. And Mark Robinson, he's joining us live this morning, our storm hunter in Mississauga. How are the conditions just feeling under your feet this morning? Because we always think about the drivers, but it's the pedestrians that are also slowed down as well. Something else. I wonder what it could be, Mark. Yeah, we are talking rain as we go into the weekend. Even the potential for some freezing rain late Saturday or late Sunday and in through Monday. Mark Robinson, thanks for the look outdoors. This afternoon is going to feel like -8, so do bundle up. It's still a cold one. The January thaw isn't here just yet, and we still have this cold air mass with us tomorrow. It really is Friday and beyond. That's when we start to warm up. Now, commotion out on the roads. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of it. It's great to have you along with us on this Tuesday morning. Rachel Schoutsen, Kelly Sonnenberg here with you. And for many Canadians, if you are sick and tired of the cold, a January thaw is going to be affecting many of us as we go throughout this week and into the weekend. So we'll have details on that. But Kelly, first, let's dive into this snow.
Yeah, it is messy this morning across Newfoundland. Even Halifax this morning, we've seen at least 17 centimeters reported overnight into early this morning. Taking a look at our radar, you can see that pink getting picked up over the Avalon. That is ice pellets, freezing rain. Environment Canada has issued freezing rain warnings for those areas and snowfall warnings in effect as well, because as we take a look at our snowfall forecast, some of these areas are getting hit pretty hard.
And I want to show you this as well, the freezing rain. You can see that it's perfectly timed out with these temperatures and the precipitation right over the Avalon, right over the Bonavista and the Burin. So unfortunately, not the greatest day for travel.
And this is what it looked like waking up this morning. Nathan Coleman, brush that snow off your rooftop. Yeah, a great reminder for this time of year, especially because Halifax, I feel like, hasn't seen a significant amount of snow. It's been about the warming temperatures, about the rain. Nathan Coleman, though, showing us this morning there's a good amount of snow on the ground. How are people getting to work and school this morning?
Drive has been slow. Still have that jackknife tractor trailer on the 401 eastbound through Leslie. Mark Robinson, want to throw things out to you this morning. How's it feeling out there? Good to have you along with us on this Tuesday morning, January the 16th. Right now it is 7:36 a.m. We do have a bit of that east wind. It has kicked up a couple flurries across Lake Ontario again this morning, but the bulk of the snow, it has fallen. Started last night and it continued through the overnight, and now we're just driving in the snow that is already on the ground, and it's creating for some slippery conditions. -3 as we go into the afternoon feels more like -8, and through the overnight, well, we're down to -10 again, feeling like -16. A January thaw is on the way. We're not feeling it just yet, though. We're going to talk about that, plus take a look at traffic just after we go outside to Mark Robinson, our storm hunter. And Mark, how's the snow making you feel this morning? Already fall in. It's creating lots of issues out on the roads. Tomorrow will be a brighter day. Gray day today. We got some wintertime bright sunshine as we go into tomorrow, and then that pattern starts to relax. We lose that frigid air, and we're going to chat about that January thaw coming up. It's 7:46 a.m. on this Tuesday morning. The drive, it has not been easy, to say the least. We'll take a live look at traffic just after we check out what's trending online with Kelly Sonnenberg. And how does that January thaw help ski resorts? Well, what it does is they say the man-made snow and the natural snow really packs it down at the surface, compresses it during that January thaw, and it creates that perfect base that, of course, they hope they can keep right into the spring season. -9 feels like -14. That's what we're feeling right now in Toronto. It is a cold morning, and in terms of these flurries, we've really seen that ease as we went through the rush hour this morning. Now, Mark Robinson looks like he's getting a wind speed out there. Mark, unfortunately, big delays. As we go into this evening, we're down to -7. We're clearing out the flurries as we go into tomorrow, and we got a great forecast for Wednesday. -4 with some bright wintertime sunshine, and then the January thaw is upon us. We're seeing temperatures 5 and 6 degrees as we go into the weekend. Now, would you consider your dog the ultimate dog? Shannon had that adventure, and we're going to check in with her next. It's been a snowy morning out there. Not so much the snow that's been falling. It's been very light flurries, but it was the snow through the overnight that's now on the roadways, on the sidewalks, on the driveway, that's really making things slow. And unfortunately, we had a pretty tough commute this morning. Bright winter sunshine, that's going to return as we go into tomorrow, and that is going to give us a dose of vitamin D. It's going to make us feel good. Blue Monday, definitely behind us when we have that sunshine on our side. And then we're going to press pause on winter because a January thaw, well, that's on the way. And we are going to chat about that. But right now, here's some of the complications that could come along with a January thaw. How does it help the ski resorts? Well, of course, they start off the season with a lot of man-made snow. Then the natural snow comes in. We get that January thaw. It compresses it into a very nice base. And of course, they hope to keep that base right into the spring. As we look at our snow this morning, it has really been tapering down across the GTA. We are not worried about any big snow throughout the day today. Everything is easing for us. It's going to stay mainly gray, though, and it's going to be cold. -7, that's what it's going to feel like into the afternoon. Feels like -9 up in Barrie. The winds today, they're pretty easy to deal with today. We're going to see some gusts about 25, maybe 30 kilometers an hour. It's an easterly wind that is slowly veering to a southwesterly wind. And once we get that southwesterly wind in, well, that's when temperatures are slowly going to rise. That warmer air is going to get pumped in. Tomorrow's still going to be cold. Tomorrow's still not the January thaw. -11, that's what it's going to feel like in Toronto. It's going to feel like -13 in Barrie. But we really see this cold pattern relaxing for us. -2 is seasonal. That's something that you need to remember. When we say above seasonal, could still be cold enough to snow. This year is the freezing line, this pink squiggly line. Watch as it lifts north of Toronto. And as we go into the weekend and into next Monday, we will be seeing temperatures above that 0-degree mark. For example, here it is, your 7-day forecast. Sunday, 5 degrees. Looks like we could get some showers. 6 into Monday. And that's our next system. Late into the weekend. Saturday's going to be a gorgeous day. Beautiful sunshine, 5 degrees. That's a good day to be outside, a good above seasonal January day. It does look like late Sunday in through Monday, we perhaps could see a little bit of freezing rain through the darker hours. So that's one thing we're watching in that long range forecast, but a January thaw, it is upon us. Now, when we come back, we're going to be taking a look at some of these stories here. It's Tuesday morning and the commute has been a little tough today with a jackknife tractor trailer, a vehicle fire on the DVP, lots of spin outs as well. So please take it slow this morning and do prepare for time. When we look at the snow that has fallen, well, we're done with the bulk of it. It really wasn't a lot, generally about 5 to 7 centimeters across the GTA. And we see that low continue to depart, moves further out to the east. And then we're left with some pretty calm, maybe even call it some boring weather in behind it. I think Mark Robinson would agree. A little boring when we look at the weather this week and beyond. Mark, thanks for the update. And, you know, we were checking in with Nathan Coleman this morning as well in Halifax. And today in Halifax, it was actually bring your own toboggan to school day. It's a pretty cool day. I didn't have any of those days when I was a kid. I think I'd like winter a little more. This afternoon, -2 feels like -7. Do dress appropriately if you're headed off to work or school today. It is going to be cold. Think about the kids at recess. You definitely need gloves. Into tomorrow, we're actually a little bit colder. The wind's a bit stronger as well out of the southwest tomorrow, but it is that southerly flow that eventually will send that freezing line north of Toronto, and we really see that warm up coming into store as we go into the weekend. We're talking temperatures about 5 and 6 degrees and even rain. That will be our precipitation Sunday and in through Monday. All right, the roads this morning, we still have this jackknife tractor trailer. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for starting your Tuesday off with us. Rachel Schoutsen and Kelly Sonnenberg. And Kelly, in Atlantic Canada, we really have seen some wacky January weather, from heavy amounts of rain to the deep freeze. Now we have snow that's moving out of Nova Scotia, but freezing rain across the Avalon and the Burin. It's going to be a big story.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be a concern through the morning, early afternoon hours, even heavy snow for areas like Gander, at Clarenville as well. Still snowfall warnings and freezing rain warnings in effect. As we take a look at our snowfall forecast, messy morning, give yourself extra time even for the evening commute, even when the snow's tapering off.
Absolutely. And as we look here at the potential for the ice pellets and freezing rain, you can see it perfectly encompassing there the Avalon and the Burin. So that's something we really need to watch today. Perfectly sort of encasing the snowbanks in ice, making that sort of crunchy layer on top of them.
Now, we've been talking about ways to embrace winter.
We have problems like this jackknife tractor trailer on the 401. We had a vehicle fire on the DVP and lots of little problems problems, little spinouts on the on and off ramps, just going too quickly. So use this as a reminder to slow down and keep the space between you and the vehicle in front of you.
Yeah, you know what? Even as we take a closer look at the GTA, you can see a lot of that snow is tapered off. The winter weather advisories have also dropped off, but again, roadways are still slick. We've had the snow plows out, the salt trucks out. They've been out in full force, but they can only keep up with so much. You still have to be driving extra cautious during the winter season.
All right, speaking of the winter season, yesterday marked Blue Monday. Were you blue yesterday, Kelly?
No, I don't think I was blue. Were you blue?
I wasn't at all.
No.
You know what?
I was trying to think if I was wearing blue, but I wasn't
no,
even
I
wearing
wasn't
blue.
wearing blue either. You know, though, I went to the gym. That automatically improves my mood. I ate healthy yesterday, and I just thought, you know, today is going to be a good day. And it did not have to be a Blue Monday. So we wanted to ask you, what was your mood feeling like so far this winter 2018? And I'm standing in front of it here, but look, most people are saying they're coping with it.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm coping with it. You said you're coping with it.
I am.
And we've seen a lot of responses from people on Twitter and people that don't enjoy the winter season. Well, some people are actually heading south down to Florida, which may not be far south enough, because we're actually seeing some snow this morning in Texas.
That is incredible. Now, if you are hating on the winter, a January thaw is coming our way.
To develop for the Great Lakes this weekend and next week, we'll continue to follow that story throughout the week. Right now, your local forecast.
Great to have you here with us on this Tuesday, January the 16th today. And the morning rush was a bit tough to get through, wasn't it? It was slow out there, lots of snow on the roads. It wasn't the snow that was falling, it was the snow that had already fallen. And as we look here, that snow just continues to move out of the picture. Last night, though, the rush hour drive home, Harbourfront Centre in Toronto, Nathan Phillips Square, there's so many great places to skate across the GTA. So maybe I should put that in my plans. As you look at today, we got a great day today. -2 in Toronto, feels like -7. Few peaks of blue sky have been coming through this morning. Better chance of getting that really nice blue sky as we go into Wednesday. Wednesday, though, the winds are going to be a little bit stronger, and we don't feel that January thaw just yet. Overnight, we're -16. That's what it's going to feel like. Feels like -20 in Newmarket and Barrie, so still quite cold and cold in through Wednesday. On Wednesday, the wind gusts, especially along the lake shores, could be up to about 60 kilometers an hour. It's out of the southwest. We do want that southerly flow. That's what's going to help us warm up. We're still -4 in Toronto on Wednesday, and then we finally see that freezing mark slowly lifting north of the GTA, and that's when our temperatures are really going to turn around. And I want to send things over to meteorologist Tyler Hamilton in the Forecast Center. He has more on this January thaw. So get ready to enjoy some better conditions. The skin feels nicer when it's not -20, right? Look at us on Saturday. We're 4 degrees in Barrie. I actually even want to point out Friday being at 1, which is just a little above seasonal, but 1 is going to feel nice when you compare it to what we have been experiencing with that beautiful wintertime sunshine. We've got a great weekend in store. Saturday, I'm not really sure why this icon is showing the active weather in Hamilton. We should be clear in Hamilton for Saturday. It really is Sunday into Monday. That's when we see a round of rain coming through. Now we'll take you to Force of Nature just after this local forecast. It's Tuesday, January the 16th, and here's what's trending today. Help ski resorts, it creates that nice base, and of course they hope that can take them right into the spring season. It really has been a great season already so far. Places like Mount St. Louis Moonstone, Blue Mountain, all of the wonderful places we have, Glen Eden, to go across southern Ontario. We have seen a bit of snow this morning. The bulk of it really did fall through the overnight, though. This morning it was just the mess that it sort of left behind, and the roads, they weren't in very good shape this morning. It was a slow drive to work for many. This evening we're down to -7 in Toronto, -8 in Markham. Overall, we have a fairly gray day today, and we keep talking about this January thaw, right? When is it coming into the picture? We're going to get there. Not Wednesday, not just yet. This is still a little bit below seasonal for us. -2 is technically seasonal for this time of year in the GTA. So remember, even if we do see above seasonal conditions, still could be cold enough to snow. We have to remember, this is the coldest period of the year within the Greater Toronto region. -4 in Toronto as we go into Wednesday. And then as we take a look at the winds here, the winds are really going to start to pick up tomorrow, especially along the lake shores. Gusts to about 60 kilometers an hour. Southwesterly wind. And eventually that is going to warm us up. And we do see that warm up right across southern Ontario. We are all going to feel it. I want to show you your 7-day forecast in a second, but right right now, I want to take you to this video here. Take a look at that 7-day forecast because conditions will still be very icy even as we're warming up. We could actually see a period of freezing rain late Sunday in through Monday as this next system moves in. This, though, is a stretch of beautiful January weather. Wednesday in through Friday and Saturday. Friday is going to be a gorgeous day. Beautiful wintertime sunshine. Saturday as well. Comfortable conditions to be outdoors. And then as we go into the weekend, we do see this system coming through. And this is what's going to be bringing us our next round of rain. Overall, the end of January and in through February, we will be seeing above seasonal conditions. Now, we've got a great story coming up when we return with Shannon Bradbury. Do you consider your dog the ultimate dog? She met a pack of dogs that certainly would fit that standard. That story is next. It's been a snowy morning out there. Not so much the snow that's been falling. It's been very light flurries, but it was the snow through the overnight that's now on the roadways, on the sidewalks, on the driveway that's really making things slow. And unfortunately, we had a pretty tough commute this morning. Bright winter sunshine, that's going to return as we go into tomorrow, and that is going to give us a dose of vitamin D. It's going to make us feel good. Blue Monday, definitely behind us when we have that sunshine on our side, and then we're going to press pause on winter because a January thaw, well, that's on the way, and we are going to chat about that. But right now, here's some of the complications that could come along with a January thaw. So that's one thing we're watching in that long-range forecast, but a January thaw, it is upon us. Now, when we come back, we're going to be taking a look at some of these stories here. The flooding across the east, U.S. and Canada, it's forcing people out of their homes. We'll have a look at that report coming up.